Y'all, I come to you today with the most funniest and so far out there coverage of the healthcare CEO assassination, killing, popped, whatever you want to call it. The coverage around this has been absolutely insane. When I was working I was talking about this. I was talking about this yesterday with people at work, and like, no one, and I mean this, like, no one even during the election time would talk about anything about the election. Not even about Donald Trump or Kamala or campaigning or polls. Like, barely anybody talks about this. And I'm talking about like when I'm on shoots, when I'm on set, and when I was working yesterday, I never seen so many people go hot and fucking heavy with all this coverage and all this talk. And this was something I saw this morning, and I have to show you guys. Like, this was something that popped onto my timeline on Twitter this morning. And so essentially there have been updates. There's a manifesto about, Luigi Mangione, and there's some interesting developments. So we're just going to begin with this video. We're doing some light reaction. By the way, welcome to Adam is Chase podcast, everybody. I'm just so excited. I didn't even do an intro. I'm just so happy to just even talk about this, because this is truly a moment in history that I will absolutely relish.
He's accused of cold-blooded murder in Midtown Manhattan, but instead of condemnation, 26-year-old Luigi Mangione is getting support. Social media buzzing with sympathy for the suspect who police say gunned down the CEO of United Healthcare.
All right, Fox 5's Teresa Priolo is here now with a look at what's driving all this. Teresa.
Yes, Steve and Natasha, is he an avenger or is he an assassin? That depends on which corner of the internet you're in. Luigi Mangione.
I'm sorry, avenger or an assassin? Yeah, but, is he a Marvel character, or is he a cosplaying character for Assassin's Creed? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? What are you like? What? It's so funny how media always like will always say it's like, oh, well, it seems like, people watch too many movies, and then they literally do like, are people saying he's an Avenger? Like, what?
He is receiving global support. People are sending him money while others are making merchandise. This as other healthcare CEOs are beefing up their security.
Intelligence of the American people and lived experience.
It's a case that has simultaneously heightened fears and tapped into a deep distrust of the one industry every person in this country relies on, the healthcare industry. In the days since Luigi Mangione allegedly executed United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, other healthcare execs have beefed up their own security. Their names have been either scrubbed from their company websites or they're hard to find. And now their pictures are plastered on wanted posters all over the city. The reason, the concern is they're next.
We'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. You can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
The support for Mangione is unlike what's typically seen in high-profile murder investigations. Merchandise is being sold on Etsy. Mommy's Little CEO Killer.
This is, I mean, dude, really? Really?
Defend, deny, depose.
Dude, nothing will top that. I mean, we're done with this for now. Nothing will top this. Nothing will top this. Like, dog, they're pumping merch now, dude. That's how much Like, that's how much of this shit has just kind of like circulated through like media. And it's just, it's so funny because like 100% of the time, most people, and even still to this day, would say that like, yeah, I don't think killing a CEO or anybody really for the name of, for the name of, free healthcare is silly. For any cause for anyone to die over is just fundamentally just fucking silly. No one's denying that. And I don't think anybody would deny that, right? And just like, Big G fucking Elizabeth Warren, I'm not a fan of hers by any stretch of the imagination. But, I mean, she'd be right, though. I mean, like, fuck. Like, people are trying to take shit into their own hands. Like, it's so crazy to me that people in media and people like debate lords on Twitter are just all like, you wouldn't be saying this if, if it was any other different circumstance. It's like, yeah, they would. yeah, they would. They absolutely would. Because no matter what, everybody wants free healthcare. That's not like a crazy thing to think about. I mean, like, dog, there's even Congress people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has said that, like, oh, nobody wants single-payer healthcare. Like, what? What are you talking about? Oh, really? Like, the thing that everybody wants, that so many countries have around the world, yeah, they hate it every single time. You know what I mean? Oh, man, I wish I pay $700 a month in premiums for healthcare, and then get denied claims when I need life-saving surgery or medication or treatment. Dang it! I wish I was charged, fucking a crazy amount of money so that I gotta file for bankruptcy and go into debt. Oh, how dare you? I want to lose money. What the fuck is wrong with people? That's crazy to me. It is just so insane to me. And I know, like, not many people have that sentiment, right? Majority of people, and I mean this, the majority of people I know who are like, down to their bones Republican, very conservative, very Republican, would see this shit and go, yeah, I mean, CEO got what was fucking coming to him. I mean, what the fuck do you mean? But like, those same Republicans and those same conservatives, do you see them on Fox News fucking, saying the same shit? Absolutely not. Not even CNN or this local Fox 5 local news in New York even fucking agrees. None of them agree. And then they kind of cast this as like, oh, this is very strange for people to glorify or someone in like a CNN panel when I was driving home last night. Like I was catching some like CNN clips, and I remember listening to like a CNN anchor say that like, oh, people are just fetishizing over how attractive he is. It's like, you people are literally doing the thing. You're doing the same fucking thing. You are fetishizing him. It's just like, oh, people say that he has thick, bushy eyebrows and he's ripped and he's got muscles and he's tall, I think, and he's got a very adorable smile, and it makes me angry. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And by the way, I haven't seen much of that. But I don't go on TikTok like that. I don't really scour the comments of TikTok. I do go on TikTok from time to time, but I mean, I don't really see a lot of this. I'm sure there are some brain broken people out there who do find him attractive, but like, they also found like, the Rolling Stones found the Boston Massacre, the Boston the Boston Marathon bomber, attractive as well. That's neither here nor there. My thing is that if you're going to go against the general public's feeling of like how it's fucked up that like we don't even have free healthcare, and now that this is a conversation, now this is something that basically everybody is talking about. Because let me remind you, not everybody talked about the fucking election. You know what I mean? And I would imagine that a lot of people could give a shit about the election. They just go, yeah, I mean, we know, it's the choice of two evils. I don't give a shit. So I'm just going to stay home and not vote, which I don't blame those people, but like it goes without saying that people would see this and go, yeah, what the fuck? This is crazy. So this is basically like the general reaction of, I'm sure y'all have seen this meme before, but this is literally what goes through my brain, with everyone's reaction to the CEO mass killing. And we're also, having Italian solidarity about this, So, yeah.
Of course. He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
That's what I'm talking about, dude. What murder? What murder? That's awesome. That's fucking sick, bro. It's just, God, the general public of everybody is just this is just great. Like, this is just fantastic. What murder? It's just so fucking great. It's fantastic living in a world where, people generally are on the right side of history. Also we do have his manifesto. I don't know if I want to. I guess we're already here. We might as well. This was on Ken Klippenstein Substack, because apparently, a lot of people do not want to post his entire manifesto because honestly, I don't even know why. I don't even know why. And this manifesto came out like a couple days ago, mind you, right? So it's not like this is a new thing, and I'm sure a lot of people have already read this, but let's just get through it. So, to the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. Glazing up the government. That's what we like to see. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly I wasn't working with anyone. This is fairly trivial, some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, and a lot of patience. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. Which, yeah, like, I think it was, I think his Twitter is like a few years old, so I don't think like he really posts that much. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. And I think this sentence is probably why the majority of media just don't want to be posting this. A reminder. The U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy, which is true. United is the largest company in the U.S. by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart, which is pretty fucking big. It has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy... Wait, it has grown and grown, but as our life expectancy? No. The reality is these... indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful. I guess like he meant to like write like these fuckers that I'm imagining and I'm just me surmising, have simply gotten too powerful. And they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it. Yeah, obviously the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. Neither do I, Mr. Luigi. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, e.g., Rosenthal, Moore, which I don't know. I don't know who these names are. Are these like CEOs? I don't know, and I could give a shit. Decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. Yeah, dude, this is like I can tell by a few points here, that like, oh yeah, they don't really want this to be on mass media, but like at the same time, it wouldn't matter, right? It wouldn't hurt their ratings. In fact, if anything, it would improve CNN ratings by a huge margin because 75% of people literally watch Fox News across the country on cable news. 75% of Americans across the country watch Fox News. Okay. So if anything, CNN would have the biggest benefit of just posting this. But of course, like, it is a David Zaslav company, Warner Brothers company, so I'm sure there's going to be major pushback against it. But, I'm not a stockholder. I'm not a CEO. I don't run business like that. What the fuck do I know, But yeah, I think this whole thing is pretty much on par with how most people feel. So this like manifesto, in my opinion, probably like kind of launched 1,000 ships for a lot of people to even have this discussion. Whereas like, mamas and papas and grandmas and grandpas are having this discussion now, and it's a good thing. It's a very good thing because then people are now becoming more socially aware of this, and people are kind of like, pivoting against, legacy media in their coverage or their lack thereof coverage of Luigi Mangione, So, what else? What else is there to say? Not really much. Not really much at all, So again, it's not that complicated, and I don't think it's that complicated. And I'm not going to pretend that like, we have the solutions to all this. Clearly, like Luigi said, or Luigi wrote that, there are plenty of more competent, more experienced individuals who are aware of this and can clearly decipher all this shit, are smarter than us, and they should be the ones to essentially helm this entire thing. But again, like if any media coverage, right, of legacy media, I know like Drop Site News, Democracy Now, Majority Report, like all these places have covered it to such a greater extent, which is good. Like that's a good thing, but like that's also like, leftist, left-leaning media that not a lot of people really get behind, because a lot of times, sure, it's boring unless like you get like Hasanabi, or Mike from PA or Denims or Shonda Black like on Twitch and all that, which is like they're doing the right thing. It's just there's not going to be enough eyes and not enough attention to this. And I think that's only a detriment to legacy media, really, because I mean, more and more people are leaving that sort of medium of media, where I mean, I'm sure now a lot of times, like even Fox News, despite the fact that they got majority of Americans across the country watching them, I'm sure they still depend on like YouTube and social media to essentially like boost their fucking ratings and boost their numbers and get more circulation going on. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is just interesting shit. I don't know what else to say other than that. You know, I think that I think that this is a very interesting point in history that a lot of people are now really focused on, which is like a good thing, you know. And maybe soon, hopefully it won't be soon before long, that more and more people are going to move away from that media and focus on other things that do make sense, you know. That are genuinely like good in most cases, you know. So yeah, what else is there to say? What else is there to say, you know? So yeah, that's basically that with Luigi. I mean, like, I feel like I have a lot more to say about this, but I think I'm just going to leave it at that. Because there's still a little bit more to discuss. You know what? Well, first I want to do, before we do like Golden Globe shit, like with nominations and all that, I do want to talk about that. Also, the Critics' Choice have had nominations. So, maybe... Yeah, maybe we might just do both of those in another app. We might do those tomorrow. Who knows? But, yeah. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. And speaking of movies, I watched a movie yesterday. I didn't really have much going on in the last couple of days other than just work. The you know, just like the little bit of work, you know, bills wise that I needed to get done, which I'm basically finished for the rest of the year. But I'm gonna be pivoting back to I have been, but I'm really going to dive deep back into writing again. I'm starting on my new draft of my script, which for those if watch this pod from the very beginning, the very first episode that I've made talks about my writing experience with my first script and how long it's been. You know, it's been over 10 years since I've had the idea of this script, and, you know, after several years and changes and whatnot, I finally got a script written, and now I'm on to my my new draft, which, you know, the goals. Ideally, when it comes to like drafts and stuff, I'm still learning. This is my first script, but like essentially like, when it comes to new drafts, like I've always thought in my head that like, oh, you're just basically like, you know, copy and pasting a new thing. And it's like, not really that. It's just like with a new draft, you basically like go through the entire story again, but you either change like some plot lines, you change some character developments, you either add some scenes or you take away some scenes. And, you know, you're essentially changing like the course of the script, which is very different than what my first draft was to my second draft. And now I'm on my third. Yeah, I'm on my third draft. And it just keeps getting better, you know. I don't know how many drafts I'm going to do. I really don't want to do another draft because writing is very hard, and I just really want to make this film a reality. It's a near and dear film to me. I haven't said the name yet because it's still kind of a working title, so I don't want to just put that out there. But writing in general has been a huge learning experience for me. You know, yeah, I think writing is really fun. It is tiring. It is very taxing. And for those who don't, it's not like Kevin Smith said this before on a reel or something like that, or a TikTok, and he mentioned that like writing isn't, it's not all just like, clickety click, like we're just on the keyboard just kind of mashing it. Sometimes it's just like it will literally be me doing this for like an hour and a half, just thinking, just staring at my fucking wall, just thinking, just doing this, and then I would like type a few things, and I'm like, all right, well, there's my writing for the day. It's literally that. I know it sounds like, wow, you fuckers are lazy, but it's way harder than you fucking think it is. I mean, at least for me, it's really fucking hard. And I don't have like a system yet. I don't have like I do have like a routine, kind of, not really, but like with this podcast, I want to develop a strong, consistent schedule where it kind of forces me to at least write something every single day, and I want to try to make this a daily podcast. So it's like, it works in tandem with writing and whatnot. So like I can get my yayas out, I can yap all fucking day. And then once, I get to writing, I'm already like, I've gotten into that flow and where I just want to, kind of write away, if you will, because it means a lot to me. And this is a journey that I am taking as a filmmaker. It's a very scary process, but it's a process nonetheless. And yeah, my entire life, I've always wanted to write and direct, even before I knew like that was a thing. I didn't even know it was a thing until like high school, where like people actually like sit down and write scripts. I'm like, shit, that's crazy. How the fuck do you do that? Don't you have to ask permission first? That's how I thought with podcasting too. I just thought, oh, you got to ask permission before you start recording anything, right? Oh, ow. Dude, I sneezed so hard, my headphones flew off. Yeah, I just thought that like when it comes to writing or working in the film industry at all, it just like you always have to ask permission. It's more like you have to ask money. You have to ask for people with money to invest in shit like this. Which is the next part after I got a solid script going. Which is going to be an interesting process. And I have a few ideas, but, it's still scary nonetheless, right? So, yeah, I didn't expect to, like, kind of talk about writing stuff, but, yeah, I'll share some more updates for sure. But, yeah, it's just, starting a new draft is pretty scary for sure, because you're essentially, like, going back and starting over again, but like you still have the idea in your head. You know what your previous draft is for the most part. So it's just about like, reciting that, but tightening anything that feels like there's, things that need to be tightened. And of course, like I have notes from people, from other writers who have given me notes on my previous draft of my script. And they're fantastic notes, and I'm definitely going to be using pretty much all of them. So yeah, that's basically it, y'all. That's basically it for my writing corner. But yeah, that's about it. Oh, so going into this film that I watched yesterday. I watched the Terminator. Because I wanted to watch something that I haven't seen in a very long time. And the last time I saw the Terminator was when I was like in I think I was like younger than, maybe like I was around 8, 9, or 10 maybe when I saw the first Terminator film. And this was like on cable, right? This was back when AMC was the American movie channel, where they just play movies like all fucking day, and it was just so fucking great. It was what a time that was, right? Now you don't see that shit. I don't think ever. I don't even think, except for like those free movie channels, I don't even think like those networks like really play movies like that. Maybe FX, I'm thinking, but hold on, I gotta blow my nose. I'm gonna do it off screen. Ew. Yucky. So watching the Terminator, like what a fantastic, amazing little film that was made for a budget of $6 million, which is a lot of money, especially in the 80s, for sure. But given that this is a sci-fi film, it's a time-traveling film, kind of, in one perspective. But it's nonetheless like a very innovative, very awesome fucking movie. Like, it's so good. And it's like the Terminator, long story short, it's just essentially, this Terminator who goes back in time from the future to kill a person who essentially led a resistance to Skynet in the future, where machines and all machine learning things have become aware, become singularity, and the machines just like take over everything, right? And you see that way more prominently in Terminator 2, and I've seen Terminator 2 dozens of times. Like, I would say like at least 40 or 50 times, because like it's such a great movie. It's very quotable, of course, but I haven't really seen the Terminator like itself, like just beginning to end. And yeah, it's just a wild ride of a movie. And I think a lot of times that movies like this or movies like these really get a bad rap because, like, the effects sometimes are just so dated and very not like good. But I make this argument all the time when it comes to movies in general, is that what makes movies so special is that one part is that it's on film. So it's immortalized, So what makes a classic doesn't necessarily mean that like, oh, it's of its time and it's, we just gotta, appreciate, the film for what it is. And for the most part, that is true. But you got to understand something too, right? Even with those cheesy effects that people really get like hung up on, like younger people get hung up on, and they like to make fun of, which I did the same shit when I was younger as well. And I quickly realized that like the reason why movies like The Terminator and Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park and, or even as far as back as like King Kong, like with its claymation, or Godzilla, the old Godzilla, where like it's someone in a rubber suit kind of like destroying like little miniatures and shit like that. It still holds a power that like I don't think most people fully understand, where it's like the power of storytelling is conveyed in so many great ways that a lot of times that gets overlooked because they just see like cheesy ass graphics, or they see cheesy ass like CGI and shit like that, and they just go, "Oh, that's no good," like, "Oh, that's so silly, that's so whatever." But like, I would say that that's true for like even newer films, right? Like if you have like, a film like like Secret Invasion, right, or Quantumania to call some Marvel films, like the CGI there is I don't think that will stand the test of time. Like, I think in 20 years from now, I don't think we will be looking at those projects, like those shows and movies, in the same way that I would see, or we would see, like the Terminator, right? Because the Terminator will stand the test of time completely because it's an engaging story. You know, it's almost like a slasher in a way, but it's sci-fi. It's a classic sci-fi film that takes place in the 80s, right? You know, so you do see some like dated shit for sure, but like that's not the point of it. The point is the story of it and why it's so important and why the Terminator like needs to kill Sarah Connor. And then there's another dude who kind of launches back in time who also need to save Sarah Connor, or who needs to save Sarah Connor, not kill her, but save her. And it's just like a, you know, it's just a highly electric, very engaging film from beginning to end. And that's just Jim Cameron in general, right? Like James Cameron is just like, he's great at that. Like Aliens is one of my top few horror films that I love. And that's so near and dear to me. Not because of the horror element of it, but like more so, I mean, it's more like an action horror, really, right? But it's engaging though, from beginning to fucking end. And of course, like for many people, I'm sure that like, you know, like when it comes to sequels and shit like that, like Terminator 2, I will say that like you won't necessarily need to watch the first Terminator in order to get Terminator 2. But in terms of Aliens, it's probably better to watch Alien 1 and then Aliens. Like Alien and then Aliens. Because it's just like, you know, it's a continuation of Ellen Ripley's story, right? Where it's like, this is technically a continuation of Sarah Connor's story. But like Sarah Connor, it's like she was more so like, I don't want to say a secondary character in this film, but like she definitely is like important as a plot line, but important enough to see her development as a character from when she was just a waitress, you know, just trying to make ends meet, to, you know, Terminator 2 of her being a fucking, you know, jacked, you know, fucking Terminator herself, you know. She could just fucking take down people and shit without a weapon. Like, you know, she's just very fucking strong. And her development is very interesting to just see that, right? And to see like where that beginning kind of takes root. And with Terminator, like the story of it is engaging, and like even going into the past of like, you know, showcasing the art direction of it, like the CGI, and like when they go like flash forward to like the future and shit like that, to give like context of like why Kyle Reese, the dude who saves Sarah Connor, like what his role is in all this. And he's just a resistance soldier, right? Who got a hold of this time machine and was able to follow the Terminator, who was sent to kill Sarah Connor. He is sent to save her, right? So that story alone is simple and yet engaging enough that when you watch the effects of everything, it still works. It absolutely still works, just even in that context alone. Because there is one scene where, like, you know, there would be like a animatronic like Arnold, you know, that would be like, you know, taking out like something out of his eye, or like he's got like a gash in his eye. And he literally like cuts his eye open, but like you see the stop motion animatronic like visual of that, right? And then and by the way, Stan Winston, I mean, fucking goated VFX dude, like one of the best. Like next to Rick Baker and you know, Tom Savini and all that, like all of those like you know, or Greg Nicotero, like all those people who do like the visual effects, the face effects, makeup effects, all that are so fucking talented in their own right. that it shows in this film, and even seeing the transition from like, you know, animatronic Arnold to then the camera panning away and then coming back, and then it shows like real Arnold and shit like that, you know, when he puts on the glasses and whatnot. That's just fucking great. That's just really fucking good. And in my opinion, like, that stood the test of time. So I can only imagine that, like, it would only mean a lot more in the future, because like people are going to see that and go, not only it was a different era, but like it's still fucking good. Like you see it and, you know, like, sure, you could be like, oh, that's an animatronic, that's great, whatever. It's like, sure, but like you got to remember something. Like, people were watching this on boob tubes, right? Like, people were watching this like on those, like, you know, RCA, you know, Zenith, like, you know, television, like, you know, television screens, you know, and it was shot very close, like unless it's like a car chase, you know, or like a big explosion, like those are more wider shots. But like James Cameron really utilized and like getting up and fucking close to the action at all times, especially when people are speaking and whatnot. Like, he gets the camera very fucking close, which I really enjoyed. I'm sure that's like a whole process, you know, of just like understanding that, like, you know, they want to cater to like the home video blockbuster rental audiences as well. But yeah, I just think that Terminator is a solid ass fucking movie, you know. I didn't even plan on like talking about it. There's another film that I watched, but that's going to be for another episode. Which, by the way, if you made it this far into the podcast, I am going to be pre-recording some episodes. I think I will mention it when I start doing them, but like I'm going to pre-record some episodes because like I'm going to be going on vacation. I'm going to see family back in California. And you know, I just want to get as many of these episodes as I possibly can so that, you know, I can just drop the episodes when, you know, when that time comes. And you'll see it. Nothing is going to really change except for like maybe like, you know, in certain circumstances, like I might say some like outdated shit, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. The podcast is still going to remain the same. I'm going to do my best to record as much as I possibly can. So, yeah, hope y'all have enjoyed. Hope y'all are staying safe, staying warm, and you know, just keep fucking watching movies and shit, you know, because that's the way that the world needs to be. You know, just watch more movies. Like, people do need to watch more movies, I feel like, but you know, it's hard to convince like the TikTok generation to sit their asses down and watch a movie like the Terminator, right? Which I get. Like, there's a lot of kids who just won't appreciate something like that until you probably get older. But I don't know, man. It's just like like these movies are so quintessential in terms of like how far we've come with technology and shit. And of course, James Cameron has made like Avatar and, you know, The Abyss and Titanic and, you know, big giant fucking movies that are really, really, really good. But, you know, this is where he came from. This is where James fucking Cameron has gotten his accolades, you know. I think this was his first film. I could be absolutely wrong. His first film was Piranha 2. That was his first film. And I don't even know if I've seen. I remember seeing Piranha, but I don't remember the second one. But the Terminator, just 2 years later, 1984. That's fucking James Cameron, baby. Like, that's crazy. You know? So yeah, there's really not much else to say other than that. Do you guys like Terminator? Is this a film that y'all have got behind and like you you enjoy. You don't enjoy it. Why didn't you enjoy it? Let me know. So that's about it for me, y'all. I'll catch you next time. But until then, keep watching movies. Keep slaying kings and queens and envies. I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.